Alright, let's begin modeling. First I'm going to delete this excess. I'm going to front view, and I'm going to pull up my grid for the time being. The first thing I'm going to do is grab myself a cylinder. I like to start the torso with a cylinder. I think it's an effective object to quickly modify. Others actually start with a box modelers. I don't find that as easy to. It's like chipping away at a piece of marble. You have to deal with the corners, and the corners are already knocked off in a cylinder. So I'll give myself a cylinder and go back to the front view. I'm going to select my move tool, and I'm going to position that at 0, 0, 0. And it's already in the position that I want it, which is right at the growing area. Now for the next step, we're going to do the modify panel, and we're just going to shorten that up just a little bit, narrow it down. And what I'm doing is I'm selecting on my spinners and just simply holding my right mouse button down and scrolling over the spinners. Now I'm going to go to edge faces and determine how light I can work initially. Now the first step is to make sure that my mesh is nice and light. By that I mean as few polygons as possible. So we're going to always model with a line right down the center, because one of the best tricks for working with polygons is to make sure that you're only modeling half the geometry, half of the model, and using symmetry or copy and mirror, but it cuts your time in half if you're just modeling the one side. So once I get my cylinder in place, and I like to scale it so that the top of the cylinder is right at the clavicle for the shoulder. And what that does is give me an opportunity to utilize the top portion to build up the large muscles at the base of the neck, and then on up into the head area. And where I like to place my initial edge loops is right in under the armpit, and then at the smallest part of the waist, and at the hip area, and then down here at the area where the head of the greater trochanter is, at the largest part of the hip. Okay. Now I want to also make sure that generate mapping coordinates is on. Smooth, it can be on, that's fine. You get a faceted look if smoothing is not on. This is not smoothing as adding polygons. It's simply smoothing out the normals and giving it a round appearance to depict that cylinder rather than adding geometry. So I'm working with 8 sides initially, and that's plenty of space. Yeah, I think that might do it for now. It's about as light as it can get and still get some shape to it. So back to F front, and we'll look at my segments, sides. Yes, I think that'll be fine. So now what I'll do is go up to the stack where it says cylinder, right click, and convert that to editable poly. Now I have all of these sub-objects that I can work with to begin to shape my mesh. Since we have so few polygons to work with, what I can do is just simply go in and work with the vertices to shape that up initially. I like to, let me go back so I can explain how I got there. I'm right clicking on the object to object properties, and I like to work with see-through on initially so I can see my figure underneath of there. So I select clean through, and I don't want to just scale in one direction. I typically go ahead and scale in all directions while I'm working with the shaping of the verts. It just gets me there quicker. Alright. Now, I'm just finding that outside line of the silhouette of my character and pushing and pulling a few vertices. I'm going to leave that at the hip actually. And I'm going to bring this down to the base of the lat. And leave this at the armpit area. Alright. And broaden as we go. And then this is fine at the very edge of the very top of the clavicle there. Alright, so now that we have that face front shaped up, I'm going to hit L on my keyboard and go to the left view and do the same with my left view. Now in this case I don't want to mess with the scaling of all directions because I'll just mess up what I did. So I just go scale and Z to get what I want. Bring that back a little bit. And just continue to place those verts as I work. Get the skinnier in there. Alright, and so I'll just continue to work on that until it's shaped how I want it. And to make things a little bit quicker, I use the keystrokes. R brings up the scale tool. You can't see that, but follow the line through the arm there and you'll be able to find your silhouette line. Alright, and E for rotate and W for move. Alright, so this needs a little bit more. Alright, it's really very important to make sure that you're being as accurate as you can while you're adding geometry, because the more geometry you add, the more difficult it is to manage the geometry. So it's better and faster to take time and to lay out your verts as accurately as possible during the initial phase when you are laying in some edge loops and all. So we have the base for our torso at this point, and then now we will talk about extruding the legs.